Meryl Streep stars as Washington Post publisher Kay Graham and Tom Hanks is editor Ben Bradlee in The Post, director Steven Spielberg's drama about the Pentagon Papers. Fox director Steven Spielberg tackles the 1970s Pentagon Papers scandal with his new film The Post. Photo, Lars Nicki, Getty Images for the Academy of Washington. Had Steven Spielberg never slid himself into a director's chair, he thinks a reporter's hat would have fit well. "Look, your job is cool," says the acclaimed filmmaker, perhaps forgetting for a second he's the man who gave us Indiana Jones, E.T. and one very iconic Hungry Shark. "Of course, I've always said in my next career I would want to be a film composer, and just after that if I weren't a director, I probably would have been a journalist." In his new drama The Post, in New York, L.A. and D.C. theaters Friday, nationwide January 12, Spielberg tackles the newsroom of the Washington Post and their public 1971 tussle with Richard Nixon's White House to print the Pentagon Papers and reveal a massive cover-up about involvement in the Vietnam War. Review: Steven Spielberg's The Post dazzles with terrific cast, journalistic bent. More, Comic-Con, watch the geeky first trailer for Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. It was Post publisher Katharine Graham, Meryl Streep, her working relationship with editor Ben Bradlee, Tom Hanks, and the hard decision she had to make to publish or not to publish that attracted Spielberg. The timeliness also helped, with a current news cycle that was very evocative of the Nixon administration and their attempts to suppress the truth through the judicial system. Spielberg, 71, says, "The great revelation that put all of us who made this movie in complete solidarity was the fact that sometimes history is best viewed through a lens, and there was a huge reflecting mirror that could take the date 71 and flip it to 17. Washington Post editor Ben Bradlee, Tom Hanks, and publisher Katharine Graham, Meryl Streep, go to court in The Post. Photo, Nico Tabernas. Spielberg is also currently readying his retro fantasy Ready Player One, out March 30, and eyeing a new version of the classic musical West Side Story. It would still take place in 1957 and it would still be about the Sharks and the Jets, he promises. USA Today talks with the Oscar-winning director about The Post, Trump, and seeking out the truth. "You've made a career out of heroes you've put on screen. Is that the label you'd give Graham, Bradlee, and the Post journalists? I see them as hard-working heroes. You can't be a hero unless you're bucking a system, and they had a huge system to buck called the Nixon administration. H.R. Haldeman, John Ehrlichman and John Mitchell, they were all at the throats of the New York Times and the Washington Post. The great thing is, no matter what administration comes and goes, journalism is here to stay." The Post ties into Watergate a little bit at the end. Would you like to continue this story and do your own version of All the President's Men? No, because my story ends where Alan Pakula's story begins. Except for Katharine Graham's very noticeable absence in All the President's Men, I feel that movie is a perfect film.